The unsettling tale of when the government intentionally poisoned alcohol. In the midst of the roaring 20s, a dark secret lay hidden, a story that would shock the nation. It was a time when the government intentionally poisoned alcohol. Prohibition was in full swing. The desire for alcohol was unquenched by the law, leading to an underground industry of bootlegging. But the government had a plan that would take a deadly turn. It involved intentionally poisoning industrial alcohols to deter consumption. It started innocently enough. Industrial alcohols were denatured to deter drinking. But as Prohibition proceeded, the government took drastic measures. The government began adding chemicals to alcohol, chemicals that were harmful, even deadly. Their goal was to make alcohol undrinkable to enforce the law. The method was simple. By increasing the toxicity of denatured alcohol, they hoped to deter its consumption. But people were desperate for a drink. Unaware of the danger, they continued to consume these toxic brews. The effects were immediate and devastating: nausea, abdominal pain, blindness, and in some cases, death. Bootleggers tried to remove the poisons, but they were often unsuccessful. The deadly cocktails continued to flow into the speakeasies. As the death toll rose, rumors began to spread. Whispers of the government's deadly scheme circulated, but many dismissed it as mere conspiracy. It wasn't until the deaths became impossible to ignore that the truth began to surface. The government's plan was exposed. Public outrage followed, yet the government stood its ground. They blamed the victims, stating they'd brought it upon themselves. But the people weren't so easily swayed. The public demanded accountability for the countless lives lost. Doctors and public health officials condemned the government's actions. They argued that the policy was essentially committing murder. Faced with mounting pressure, the government finally admitted to poisoning alcohol, but they maintained it was a necessary measure to enforce prohibition. The aftermath of this revelation was profound. The government's credibility was severely damaged. Yet the poisoning continued until the end of prohibition. Thousands of lives were lost in this deadly gamble to enforce the law. The legacy of this tragic episode serves as a stark reminder of the lengths governments may go to uphold laws. It also sparked changes in legislation, leading to safer practices in the production of industrial alcohols. The story of the government intentionally poisoning alcohol is more than just a historical anecdote. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of extreme measures. This dark chapter in American history is often overlooked, but it's a story that needs to be told so that such atrocities may never be repeated. This tale reminds us that laws should serve the people, not harm them. It compels us to question the methods behind law enforcement and the potential consequences they may yield. It prompts us to remember those who suffered and to honor their memory by learning from our past. The government poisoning alcohol is a chilling testament to the dangers of unchecked power. It is a sobering example of how the pursuit of a greater good can lead to devastating consequences. It is a story of desperation, deception, and the devastating potential of government power. It's a tale that should serve as a constant reminder of the need for transparency, responsibility, and respect for human life. It is a story that even almost 100 years later still holds valuable lessons for us all. Remember this the next time you raise a glass. Remember the lives lost, the deception, and the lessons learned. And let's ensure that history never repeats itself, especially when the cost is human life.